I've seen a lot over the years. First memory was in 1981. I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I was at school in London. Basically, the middle of 1981. I was driven up to the Greenham Common entrance in a Ford Sierra.
Yeah.
And there was two guys in the front seat, and we drove up to the gates. The gates opened, and one of the guys turned round and said to me, "They keep nuclear weapons here." And from my understanding, that's actually a front. It's a mind control operation, kidnapping children.
Was that during the Greenham Common protester movement when they had the cruise missiles there? Allegedly had the cruise missiles there.
This was in the middle. This was in the middle of 1981 when I was taken in there. I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Basically, the gates opened. We drove in. Drove along. We drove down an underground road there. That's codenamed the Bravo entrance to the AL 499 base. Drove down quite far to an underground car park, underground, and got out. And there was a group of 15 other children there. We were kind of huddled in the corner. But there's actually a military truck parked opposite.
Yeah.
They're quite a big one. And then there was two. You know, like you have a car park, you have a man in a booth, and he presses the button when the things come up.
Yeah.
There was two of them, because it was a two-lane road underground. There was one on each road. And they went further underground. Once things opened, they let you in.
Yeah.
But we were 15 children. We were all huddled in the corner and given blankets. And then there was a door on the right, and we were taken in the door on the right. By military officers. We were taken in, and it was like went through a corridor, and there's like a classroom set in there, tables and chairs, and we sat down. We all sat down, and we were given like puzzles, like geometrical shapes to put together.
Yeah.
And what they were doing there is we were all identified psychics, because it was the Project Oak Tree in the 50s, was before Project Mannequin. That was a genetic bloodline study that was run from Harwell Genetics Labs in Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
And that
was also connected to this basement.
Yeah, that's the Delta entrance.
Yeah.
Harwell, that goes down to the AL 499.
Harwell's where the Rutherford Appleton laboratory.
Yeah, the genetics labs. Yeah. But the Harwell genetic study was called Project Oak Tree. And that was connected to all the major hospitals in the country. It still is. They're still looking for psychic children.
In other words, they're marking their medical records to check who's what. How do they do that? Do you know how they do that? Is there any mechanism? No.
I'm not exactly sure how they do it.
So you don't know what to look for in your medical records to see whether you've been identified as a...
Well, Barry King says it comes up on your records that you're part of a government genetic survey, but it doesn't say what that survey is. And all your medical records are actually routed through the NSA, through people that are part of it. It's, you know, they're basically the group of children that I was programmed with were all descendants of the tribe of Dan.
Yeah.
Again, just to explain a little bit about them, they come out of the Middle East at the time of the Exodus.
Yeah.
They went up to Greece with the Spartans, I mentioned that, and they went up to France and other places in Europe. They were the Merovingian kings there, and other royal bloodlines. From there, they travelled up to Great Britain and Ireland, in America.
Yeah.
In Ireland, they were known as the Tuatha De Danann kings there. In America, their symbol's an eagle, and that's the symbol that the American coat of arms, the National Security Agency, is the eagle, it's the tribe of Dan. Basically, this group, this genetic group, we were all descendants of the tribe of Dan.
Does the comic book The Eagle and Dan Dare have any relevance to that?
I think a lot of these...
the Mekong, the E.T., that's a 1950s comic book.
I think, to be honest, I'm seeing a lot of this, a lot of the sub-projects of Mannequin in films and in X-Men comics. They're taking bits out of it. Basically...
Can you know anything current?
Yeah, there's just a new X-Men comic come out called The Tomorrow People. The Tomorrow People is
Tomorrow People was, of course, a psychic TV program based in the 1970s.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they called the Tomorrow People, and they were enhanced psychic people.
Right.
And it was a science fiction show.
Right.
Called that very name, the Tomorrow People.
Right. Because basically the Tomorrow People was the name of the project at the CLC-1 base underneath Westminster. It was the remote viewing project.
Yeah.
It was called the Tomorrow People.
They have special psychic ability. Well, continue.
But yeah, the remote viewing and remote influencing.
That's an example of television, children's television being used to actually inform of current secret projects. There's no other way you can find out.
Well, basically you've, I don't know whether it's part of a public education program to get people slowly desensitised to it, or possibly it's just an inside joke by the NSA. You know, they're saying, oh, you know, we're putting it right in your face what's going on, you're too dumb, you can't even notice. Yeah.